Good morning. My name is Glenn Sheffield, and I'm a member of this congregation. Our church is offering our Sunday services both in person and virtually. Whether you are here in the chapel or joining us from home, you are welcome. Souls to the Poles is offering a free fish fry if you provide an I voted sticker at the Mount Vernon Government Center on Parker's Lane this afternoon from 1 to 5 p.m. Please check the board table for information this morning. As you can see, there's a lot of activities going on. We gather to recommit ourselves to the mission of this church, to support one another in our spiritual journeys, to work for justice, to care for the earth, and to build the common good. It is great to be together. This morning, we welcome, once again, Ebony C. Peace to our pulpit. Ebony has been our minister in residence this summer, and she will continue with us for 3 Sundays a month through December. We are so glad to have her here. Lastly, please continue to look to your emails, phones, and to the MVUC websites for continued updates about worship and other church happenings. And know if you are ever in need, your church staff is an email or phone call away. I invite you now to take a deep breath with me as we enter into this time of worship. Our chalice lighting this morning is entitled Why We're Here by Eric Walter Wickstrom. Here today in this place and with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice be lit, light our way. Please rise in body and spirit and join in the singing of our opening hymn, number 1040, Hush.
There's also a couple extra verses at the bottom of the second page, just to remind. Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to see you today. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? Sounds like freedom, somebody's calling my name. Sounds like freedom, somebody's calling my name. Like freedom, somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? Sounds like justice, somebody's calling my name. Sounds like justice, somebody's calling my name. Sounds like justice, somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? Soon one morning, death comes creeping in my room. Soon, one morning, death comes creeping in my room. Soon, one morning, death comes creeping in my room. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? I'm so glad, trouble will last always. I'm so glad, trouble will last always. I'm so glad, trouble will last always. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? Thank you, Rhea.
Please remain standing as we unite our voices and speak aloud the covenant of our community. These words are both known within our heart and are on our order of service. Love is the teaching of this church. The quest of truth is its daily task, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve life and community, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony. This is our covenant with each and with all. We come now to the morning offering. Mount Vernon Unitarian Church continues to share the plate with committed organizations that you, our members, have chosen. During the month of October, our offering is being shared with the Arcadia Center for Sustainable Food and Agriculture. Acadia's mission is to improve the health of our community, support the viability of local farmers, and preserve the environment for future generations. Through its programs, Arcadia works to address issues of food access and food justice, mobile farm market, raise awareness about healthy food and its sources, farm-to-school programs, and farm camp, trains military veterans to farm sustainably, the Veteran Farmer Program. This mission and activities of Arcadia are consistent with our seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. I give because I love MVUC. Love is central to our UU values, and the generosity value cultivates a spirit of gratitude and hope for me. I invite this gathered community to offer whatever you are most comfortable with in spirit and financial generosity to the Arcadia Center for Sustainable Food and Agriculture and for the mission of our church community. Will the ushers please come forward at this time?
Good morning. I'm Reverend Eleanor Pease. I am your part-time pastoral care minister, at least for this fall. And our theme today is stillness. I know a lot of folks come to church looking forward to this chance for stillness. All too often in our everyday life, we skip over stillness. We just don't have time. Sometimes tying our shoes is the only moment of stillness. Then other times we expect, okay, time to meditate, and we expect to just dive into stillness, but we might feel kind of antsy or kind of unprepared if our body is not yet ready to be still. So I invite you just now to prepare for further stillness with a little bit of somatic practice. We've had some wonderful music that helps us settle. And now, this is totally optional, but it's not hard. I'm going to invite you to pat yourself. And by the way, if you need to wiggle around a little bit, that's good too. Shoulders. But just maybe pat your head, maybe pat your face, maybe pat the back of your neck and your shoulders, maybe your arms. Now, in Tai Chi, we go all the way down to our feet, but you don't have to. That's just a way of getting settled. And then when you stop, just take a breath and see if you feel any different. Do you feel any more settled? Any more ready to be still? That's something you can do whenever you like, pretty much. So there's millions and millions of things I want to say in just a short time, but I want to tell you that I've been reading this book called My Grandmother's Hands. And with that title, it sounds ironic that it's actually a book about police brutality. But it takes the scholarship on trauma and applies it to major social issues, and especially racialized social violence. And it is hard to read at points, but it is worth getting to the end because it offers so much hope and faith that we can move through the ways that both our minds and our bodies constrict us into social patterns that not only are causing direct harm to many people, but are causing indirect harm to everyone and perpetuating themselves. So, somatic practices like we just did are a big part of that book. But what I also took away is that spiritual care and pastoral care, like I want to and do offer you, not only is healing for you, it's also healing for the community and the society. In my context, what I see is that when you seek out spiritual care, pastoral care, spiritual development, new spiritual disciplines, whatever it may be, you are opening the opportunity for healing not only of yourself, but for a collective benefit when you are interacting everywhere that you go. And the book quotes one of the author's colleagues, I believe. Her name is Susan Raffo, and Susan Raffo says, "Healing isn't fully healing if it doesn't in some way connect the individual to the community. We heal so that communities can take on healing as part of their everyday ways of being." And this is the good news about a congregation like Mount Vernon Unitarian Church, because we are already connected in a community setting. For any one of us, our healing and development process is also already connected. When we sing together, when we light candles, even when we pat ourselves, we are making our connections healthier, both physically and emotionally. So with great hope, I see that this community has taken on healing as part of its way, our way of being, to care for our own selves as a corporate body, and to spread out into the world. So please reach out to me. We can talk more. I have a lot to say, but I also, most importantly, want to practice deep listening. I have my cards to give those of you who are in the room, and I am available through the church website, and welcome everyone who is online as part of this same experience. And I look forward to supporting our collective health. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's gather our hearts and minds in a spirit of prayer and meditation. Today, I hold in my heart the joy of the last few days as I attended the MVUC conference. It took place at Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Church in Bethesda, Maryland. And this is a gathering sponsored by the Unitarian Universalist Association with partners that were committed to dismantling racism and oppression. I found it a transformative experience for myself, other congregational leaders that are really dedicated to multicultural communities with love at the center. My joy in attending workshops about advancing anti-racism, faith in action, and conflict management, just to name a few. And it was open to clergy, lay leaders, and all those dedicated to advancing multiculturalism within our congregations. And they do this every year. So I would encourage each and every one of you to learn more by going to the UUA website and search for MVUC. That's MOSAIC. And I'll also ask that a link will be shared in the newsletter this coming up week. They have a lot of resources that are invaluable. That's my joy. I love that our faith is doing this work. It's very needed. We start with ourselves before we go out. Join me in a moment of stillness. As you are willing and able, I invite you to come up and light a candle as an expression of a special joy or sorrow. And this is a ritual of support for each other within our community. Oh, are we singing first?
Go ahead, 10:13, please. This is a lovely chant. It just goes on and around. And it also is sung as around. The choir will be leading that too. Just let it flow through you.
invite you now to light a candle in your expression of a joy or sorrow. Come.
And now let us sing the children out to their religious education classes.
To the spark of your precious light.
have observed that there is a deep understanding of how important stillness is, the power of quiet reflection, the opportunity to connect with our inner selves and the world around us. This is absolutely healthy and good. However, if you were outside looking in, you might come to the conclusion that many of us do not value stillness. We rarely, if at all, pause amidst the chaos of daily life to truly listen. In our fast-paced world, stillness may feel like a luxury we can't afford. Yet, how can we forsake the clarity and peace that stillness facilitates? That peace that connects us with something greater than ourselves. In the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, I can only imagine the spiritual impact of not embracing stillness. Can you imagine it? Are you experiencing it? Mark Nepo, a poet and spiritual advisor, offers encouragement on this topic. He says, "Still yourself and listen, and soon in time, the mystery will begin to speak to you through its thousands disguises as life on earth." These words invite us to embrace stillness as a sacred practice, which I believe is essential for self-care and resilience. We are reminded that all things can speak to us. There is no limit on which we can receive clarity, ideas, relief, encouragement, inspiration, affirmation. Stillness is holy. Stillness is necessary for clarity. Yet, in a culture that prioritizes productivity over rest, many of us no longer have the habit of stopping to smell the roses. We exist in a society that often penalizes us for taking our time. It's easy to be stigmatized for resting. We might be perceived as weak or less able if we ask to get some air, or if we ask for time to just even think before answering. Rest, stillness, in all its many forms, is revolutionary. Rest is anti-oppression. Rest is, in my view, resistance against the powers that be, because it seems to me that rest is often reserved for the most privileged. I wonder if this is why the most vulnerable who struggle in poverty are often referred to as the working poor. The working poor, the middle class, everyone can benefit from stillness. To be still is to be at rest. We might rest our mind, body, spirit, so that we can just be receptive, be in tune, be connected. There is a threshold before us, a line drawn in the sand, a choice to make each day And I believe we must cross this threshold into stillness. We must make a decision every day to lean into the quiet deliberately, to pause, to say, time out, even if it's just for a few moments, to step away and take 3 breaths, even if it's to carve out 15 minutes to an hour or more to meditate, or embrace divine silence. The threshold of stillness is not an easy choice, even if it's an obvious one. See, our culture often socializes us to view rest as a reward. Ooh, I gotta say that again. I heard that resonated right there, didn't it? Yeah, it's like, that's right. Yes, our culture often socializes us to view rest as a reward, something to be had after you've won or after you're wealthy. The right to peace and quiet and self-reflection is something to be deserved. And this perpetuates oppression because our divine creativity is squashed when we don't allow ourselves to receive the benefits of stillness. With stillness comes ideas, hope, clarity, and relief. The powers that be, whatever they are, they don't want you to rest. They don't want you to be your best self because they might feel threatened by your newfound resolutions, your newfound energy and discoveries. When we are connected to the divine, which stillness facilitates, we are powerful. In stillness, we can hear and know with our whole body. There's a potential to unlock our greatest insights and discoveries. I often think of stillness as a state of mind or inactive activity. I think of stillness as something we lean into in the midst of our solitude, a joyful solitude that's not to be mistaken with the loneliness or disconnection of isolation. It seems to me that human nature wants us to fill uncomfortable silences. But I say the human spirit wants us to remove the noise. We cannot receive unless we first remove. We cannot receive if our cup is already full. This is a part of the choice. We make a choice when we see this threshold before us, this line drawn in the sand. A choice to make each day. What will we choose? I'd like to share a beloved Buddhist parable that you may have heard about removing before we can receive. A long time ago, there was living a wise Zen master deep in the mountains. Many people would come and ask him to teach them. One day, a professor made the long journey to visit him and ask him for his wisdom. First, the professor introduced himself to the Zen master by mentioning all of his academic credentials, and then said, "I have come today to ask you to teach me about Zen. Open my mind to enlightenment." The tone of his voice was one of someone who was used to getting their own way. The Zen master smiled and said, "We should discuss this matter over a cup of tea." When the tea was served, the master poured his visitor a cup. But when the cup was full, he didn't stop pouring. The tea began to spill over the table, but the master kept pouring. The professor watched the overflow until he could no longer restrain himself. Enough! You are spilling the tea all over. Can't you see the cup is full? The Zen master stopped pouring and smiled. You are like this cup, so full of your own opinions and speculations that nothing more can be added. Come back to me when your cup is empty. Come back with an empty mind. The end. The Zen master said, come back with an empty mind. He showed us that sometimes we can't even see that our own cups are full. Even if we can't quite see it, being self-reflective should enable us to act on the assumption that we are continuous learners. There is always something new to learn and discover. This is why I was at this conference for the past 3 days in Bethesda, Maryland, learning more. What used to work then doesn't work now. As a theological point, as Unitarian Universalists, continuous transformation on an intellectual and spiritual level is core to our beliefs. As a spiritual practice, I invite us to always be emptying our cup. There are those things, concepts, ideas, beliefs, fears, pain, experiences from our past that no longer serve us. How about we pour them out so we can create a new story? How about we unlearn harmful things and learn better ones for our modern times? On this, I had to unlearn something personally. It was called the Golden Rule. I thought this golden rule was the end-all and be-all of being a good person, on being a good super Unitarian Universalist. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. This golden rule, you can find it in the Bible, in the Gospel of Matthew 7:12. In everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. This perspective was drilled into me as a child and young adult. It wasn't until I started to practice stillness and deepen my understanding of myself and my place in the world that I poured out that old belief and allowed a new one to be poured into me. The new belief is called the Platinum Rule. I had heard about the Platinum Rule many times, but my cup was too full to receive it. Eventually, once I poured out the old belief that was no longer serving me, my relationships, my priorities, like a magnet, this new belief latched onto me and has been with me ever since. In his book, The Art of People, Dave Kirpin explains what he calls the Platinum Rule, which is, do unto others as they want done unto them. I believe that spiritually and emotionally, we need the clarity and connection that quiet provides. I believe that stillness can open us to depth that allows us to navigate the complexity of life with a renewed sense of purpose. For example, If you are craving solitude, a brief or extended moment of quiet, lean into that. Trust your body. Trust that it's letting you know what you need. I am reminded that my 9-year-old son often feels overstimulated, and he will just remove himself from situations to find his peace. Everyone's playing and having fun. My son's gone, where is he? He's in his room by himself, getting his peace. I think there's a lot we can learn from children, especially since they have yet to be weighed down with society's expectations to the extent many of us adults are often weighed down. As adults, I observe that we're often pressured to grin and bear it, that we're socialized to be nice and not to come off as rude for wanting to take time for ourselves or otherwise lean into the stillness our spirits crave. When we take time to find our peace and be still, we open the door to self-discovery. We might uncover patterns in our behavior or thoughts that have been holding us back. This introspection is not just a personal journey. It's a path to greater understanding. It's about increasing our capacity for empathy toward others. I empathize with my son when he takes his quiet time, say, good for you. And when his cousins try to get him to come back, I say, leave him alone. He'll come back when he's ready, right? Creating space for quiet contemplation is essential. It allows us to connect with our intuition that align our actions with our values, all of which fosters a more inclusive and compassionate community. When we embrace silence, not just by ourselves, but lean into our inner stillness while in the presence of others, such as those within our faith community here, when we do this, we can better listen to the diverse voices around us, enriching our own perspectives and strengthening our commitment to inclusion. There is a threshold before us, a line drawn in the sand, a choice to make each day. What will we choose? I want to call on the wisdom of a few key players who have something to share about stillness. The wisdom of Lao Tao, an ancient Chinese philosopher and author of the Tao Te Ching, offers us a powerful reminder that there is immense strength in silence, that it's in these quiet moments that we find the resilience to navigate life's challenges and uncover our true selves. Silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's a deep presence that can guide us through even the most difficult times. And when faced with conflict or difficult situations, our instinct might be to react with words or actions, yet, as the Dalai Lama teaches, sometimes the most powerful response is found in silence, stillness. We must first make the choice to go through the threshold of stillness in order to sit comfortably in our silence. By choosing to remain silent or otherwise lean into our stillness, we create space to truly listen and understand, paving the way for deeper connections. In times of turmoil, silence can be the greatest gift we give ourselves and others. 13th century poet and Islamic scholar Rumi captures the essence of silence as a divine language that transcends human communication. In the quiet spaces of our hearts and minds, he reminds us that we can connect with something greater than ourselves, something beyond words, beyond concepts. It's in this sacred silence that he believes we can tap into our connection with the divine and experience a profound sense of peace and unity. I also think about Mother Teresa. She's known to have said, "In silence, we find our true selves." It was in her moments of stillness that she embraced her transformative calling and connected her deepest values and purpose. Stillness facilitates the ability to find the strength to live authentically and courageously. In other words, embracing stillness can transform our approach to centering love and transformation. In our holy work, whether it's serving on a committee or facilitating a discussion, silence allows us to pause, reflect, and approach each situation with empathy and understanding. Transformation is one of our values in Unitarian Universalism, as was recently articulated in the latest vote at the UU General Assembly this past June. Transformation. Our theological tradition asks us to embody our living tradition by making the choice to be open-minded and inspired by the perspective that we can better serve our world when we are not fixed in belief, not fixed in capacity or ethical orientation. But a living tradition is one that revises with joy and empties their cup when the water is stale and unhealthy to drink. Our other values, include love, interdependence, pluralism, justice, generosity, and equity. But transformation, at its core, transformation is about adapting to the changing world. It's impossible for us to adapt without change. We cannot change if our cups are full. I invite you to explore the power of stillness in your own life. How can you incorporate moments of quiet into your daily routine? What insights might you discover in those quiet spaces? What might happen if you listen to the mysteries in your life? What fear can you confront? How can stillness help you connect with your true self and foster inclusion here at Mount Vernon Unitarian Church? There is this threshold before us, a line drawn in the sand, a choice we make each day. May we explore how we can listen. May we prioritize the quiet within the sacred. Amen. Oh, what are we doing there? He's coming up.
He's got a video for this lesson.
Okay, great.
Very nice. Thank you. Please stand as you're willing and able and join in singing hymn number 36, our closing hymn, When in Our Music. Now let us recite the extinguishing of our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
May we reach for stillness as a source of strength. Let us consider that sometimes silence is the best answer. May we find our true selves in silence. May we unlearn, may we pour out that which no longer serves us and create a new story. Go in peace, practice love. Amen.